Yeah, so far,
But
So far, even now.
yeah,
like we were flowing. 3 inch pump today.
Yeah.
Pump.
yeah, so far,
So far, even
No
now.
kidding.
yeah,
Like we were flowing with a 2 inch pipe, 2 inch hose.
Yeah. Most of these are. The smallest I've seen is 3. And then I think some of these guys, that's the other thing I wanna look at. I mean, I've seen them up to like 6, 8 inch.
Right, but it goes down, down, down.
Until when you get up. to it.
Right.
Yeah. So I gotta, but the pipe's not cheap either. Somebody was like, oh, they're giving that stuff away. Oh, then I got looking. And they're like, oh yeah, 30-foot sections of pipe for $50 a piece. And I'm like.
Yeah, giving that away.
How far is that gonna get me? I don't. We'll figure it out. Like I was telling Dad, I go, if I find something right away, that's fine. I go, but if not, I go, we got all winter for auctions or, down. And stuff like that. A lot of those vegetable guys are getting out of it because the housing's pushing on them so hard. So
Yeah.
once in a while you can find some cheap stuff there. So, I don't know.
How did Dan make out with this meeting?
I haven't talked to him since right after, like the day after the surgery. I guess Pam said he was in later I stopped in early this afternoon, late morning, early afternoon. This afternoon, she said that, he was walking, but he gets tired.
yeah,
So, but he was out and about checking on things.
that's good.
It's pretty wild. They do that as outpatient surgery now.
Said he was home that day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go in, check your knee out, put a new one in. Way you go.
I know, it
See.
doesn't feel right.
I had I think I broke my nose. Son, I couldn't breathe out.
Oh,
And I went in first thing in the morning, same thing, knock you out, you're out cold. Barely even open your eyes, so I can newborn deer. Put it in the car and that's your day.
yeah,
Take you out to the door in a wheelchair and then make you stand up and shove you in a car.
Yeah. They know you're picking up groceries, they know, they won't.
Curbside pickup.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I know, it's crazy. No. I searched, I didn't see it, so. Yeah, yep. I was okay with those.
Good to go. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the August 13th, 2025 regular town board meeting. I would like to invite you all to please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Hello, everybody. I am filling in for Dan Wolliver at tonight's meeting. Dan had a knee replacement last week, so he's out for just a little bit here. That being said, I don't have any announcements to make, and we will get right into our, oh, I'm sorry, roll call. Yep.
Councilwoman Morale,
Here,
Councilman Brown,
Here.
Councilman Guys,
Here.
Deputy Chase.
Here. Okay, so after everything I just said, we are going to get into the public comment period. It is a 3-minute rule. Is there anybody in the public that would like to speak?
Catherine Hankins, 2353 Pinnacle Road. When I read the minutes, I was very surprised, and then I heard from others. Once again, I have to raise the concerns the town board is violating the New York State open meetings law. The law states that the public has a right to be informed and prepared for the discussions at our town board meetings. At the last town board meeting, July 23rd, a resolution was passed that was not on the agenda. The resolution gave the town assessor a new 6-year contract. The public was not informed, with the result that our citizens, our taxpayers, were not given the opportunity to ask the town board questions or contribute to the decision before it was made. This is a contract that is worth more than $100,000, and there's no excuse that it was left off the agenda. The New York State open meetings law mandates that agendas and supporting materials for public meetings be published ahead of time. This ensures transparency and allows the public to review the topics to be discussed. Selective posting of agendas is not allowed, as it can mislead the public and hinder the transparency of the legislative process. There was no urgency to put this resolution on the agenda. The assessor's current contract is not up until September 30th. And now, again, for this evening's meeting, I heard through the grapevine that the National Grid is being discussed and is also not on the agenda. This is another issue that many citizens are concerned about, and they want to find out what's going on. The open meetings law is not a suggestion. It is the law. There is no excuse. The right to know what our government is doing is sacred. I have repeatedly raised the concern that the town board is not following the law, and it appears that town board members may be willfully breaking the law, and this is unacceptable and unethical. The town board members are well aware of citizens' concerns about the plans being proposed for GOLA, and they are well aware of the citizens' dissatisfaction with the 2025 townwide reassessment, the third reassessment in less than 5 years. New York open meeting law is crucial for transparency and accountability in government. By requiring public body meetings to be open, it empowers citizens to stay informed about decisions impacting their communities and emphasizes public participation in democracy. Understanding this law is essential for government officials and citizens. In closing, I would like to remind all town board members that there are legal penalties for intentional violation of the open meetings law in New York State. The law also prohibits attempts to intimidate or silence contributors or deliberately deceive the public. The other thing I would like to remind the board for is to obtain the intervener funds to protect us legally. We don't have to pay taxpayer dollars, and we need to use the monies that have been set aside by the state of New York to help make sure that any easement or any decision made for GOLA is done with the interest of the citizens in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in the public that would like to speak?
Good evening, Marianne Rizzo, Stoll Road. So please, I encourage you to obtain the state dollars available for intervener funds to hire a specialized land attorney. It's state money to protect our community interests with the Niagara Mohawk substation plans and the public easement, the easement on public land. If you put the easement in, if they put the easement in, I know it's only a third of an acre. I mean, I think it's a 0.33 acres, but they could use chemical means. It's taking away the riparian buffer, part of the riparian buffer, when we should be increasing the riparian buffer, because this is the place where the creek meets the river. It's a very ecologically sensitive area. So getting back to the substation, it's really good that they're going to decommission the old substation. That's an opportunity. And I encourage you to have them fully decommission it. They talked about removing all the metal, but they said they're going to leave the fencing up in case they ever need it again. I think we should restore this land to its original beauty and function. Okay, so this opportunity gives us an opportunity to restore this beautiful idyllic road, GOLA. Yes. And a new substation, which would be 5 times the size. of the present one. Does not belong there. And those of you, or Dan, I know, you worked on the comprehensive plan, as did Dan Wooliver, and I know you're all familiar with the comprehensive plan. This is residential land, and this is the kind of activity that belongs in industrial land. And I recommend that we get the intervenor funds and that we see into the future. And I want you to embrace the vision of thinking about the next 10 years. And that's not too long. And then even the next 30 years. Okay, because you're the leaders of the community. And then perhaps the next 50 years. And think multi-generationally that this particular road, this beautiful idyllic road, could someday, probably, we're gonna need housing. And you're gonna have communities living on this road and this beautiful road. And I say that, as you can see, with a great warmth, because I live in the road next to it. And it is beautiful. I love living on Stoll Road. This road is even longer. And it's on the creek. It's on, it's right near the river. So we have an opportunity to make this a beautiful place and to say no to this, this industrial activity and residential land. It's not acceptable. And you might think, oh no, it's Niagara-Mohawk. There's nothing we can do about it, but we don't know until we try, and we can get the intervenor funds, and then we can try and say, hey, we have a vision. We have a vision for this land, and we have a home where we have a comprehensive plan. It's not in the plan. So if you would please represent us and try to get the intervenor funds, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne. Anybody else like to speak? Is this just for our information, Marianne? Okay, thank you. Okay,
One.
yep, one more.
David McWashington, 26 April Lane. Just looking at the agenda for tonight, I see that coming up, we'll have a resolution to schedule a public to authorize a property tax levy in excess of the limit that the state provides. This is another time that it's happening. It's quite concerning as a resident that this is continuing to happen right after assessments are just went up for a lot of us too, that still that wasn't enough to fund the town. I hope there's more breakdown and maybe more services that'll be provided. Maybe we'll learn about that in the public hearing and comments from that and other information provided transparently. But honestly, it just looks like we're pricing our aging community out of the town. People that have been here a long time and raised their families here, and we're not honoring their lives and their families by doing this and pretty much kicking them out of their homes. So.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, at this point, we'll move to the approval of minutes. Would anybody, I don't think we got the workshop meeting minutes from August 4th. So could we, I guess, we got the minutes for the July 23rd town board meeting, if someone wants to read that resolution.
I have moved to approve the town board minutes of Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025, as submitted by town clerk Hargrave. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Councilwoman Morale,
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Councilman Kais,
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Chase,
Aye. Okay, at this point, we have a transfer of funds, so I'm gonna call on our finance director. I see she's on Zoom to kind of explain the transfers before we go to a vote on that. Janice, are you available?
Yep, I'm here.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yep, can you hear us?
Yep. So the first one is $215.99 That is a printer for the Recreation Department. The ARPA grant from Monroe County actually covered that expense. So it originally was expensed to the Recreation Department, and it should have actually gone to the ARPA grant itself. So we just need to transfer that invoice from one account to the other. The next one is the state retirement, was about $1,200 more than the estimated amount. So that is taking that out of, the, contingency account, and putting it into the state retirement. And then the last one is the backhoe that, was approved, and the expectation of the exact price for the Lions Road pipe. So that is an actual increase to the revenue account and an increase to the expense account. So that is coming from their fund balance.
Going from their fund balance to the special drainage account? Is that, that's how I read it? Is that how that's
Yep,
working then?
yep. So it's the special drainage's fund balance. So it is all in their account.
Okay,
So the SD 5999 is the fund balance. We have a fund balance in that account? What is that? I'm sorry.
Yes, that is your fund account, yes.
For a special district, I didn't realize we had 41,000 in there, but I guess I'd have to go look at the budget. That's in our budget?
Yeah, so that's the 5999 is your unexpended, fund balance. And so that's why we're increasing the revenue as well as increasing the expense.
Okay, but which fund balance?
The special drainage has its own fund balance. You cannot switch monies in between departments, in between funds.
I just needed a little more detail.
Yep.
And we had 41,000 in that account is what you're saying?
Yes, yep.
Okay,
Years ago, there was a drainage district set up.
Yeah. I just didn't know we had, I didn't go back and look at the actual budget to see if we had that money in that account.
Well, neither did I. But- Okay, but that's what the SD is.
Yeah,
Yep. Okay. Thank you, Janice.
You're welcome.
Deputy Supervisor, we did have questions about the last meeting where there was additional
Oh,
transfers on there that
yep,
were just a mistake on being submitted.
yep. So Janice, I don't know if you heard Pam, but did you want to speak to that? I know that at the last one where we had to transfer funds, there was a few other items on that, not just the three that we were supposed to be looking at.
Yeah, so those funds were actually on additional pages that I didn't know were on the document when I sent it. Those were past years. So that has nothing to do with this year and is not relevant.
Okay. Okay, that was basically just a clerical error at that point.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Commissioner?
yep,
Go for it.
I so move, having audited all the unexpected balance of existing appropriations at transfers number 1 through 3 in the amount of $42,415.99 be approved. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilwoman Morale,
aye.
Councilman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Kies,
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Chase,
aye. Okay, moving on, approval of abstract, Councilperson Brown,
I so move, Having reviewed all vouchers on abstract 8-1 of June 25, 2025, authorized payment totaling $122,754.85, which includes Fund AA General for $58,952.50. DA Highway Townwide for $62,888.65, and Fund LL Library for $913.70. Do I have a second?
A second.
Can I just ask a couple of questions?
I was gonna.
You gonna explain some of
Yeah,
them?
the-
Okay,
The town highway one is exceptionally large because there was a purchase of a truck in there, which was budgeted for. I do know that.
that was the one that we had,
Yeah,
DJ would know. That was one we already talked about. I recognize the dollar amount. I just wanted to make sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
We budgeted for that truck and that was approved by us for $58,237.60. And then there was also some work on the barns. Barn 7, I believe, or. I saw.
The
it.
flooring that we did.
Yeah, the flooring project, which was. Yeah, barn number 7, subfloor sheeting for $14,900.
And is that's coming out the grant money, right?
Correct. That was part of the grant, yeah.
Yeah. There were a couple other things in there, for repairs. Sorry, thank you. There are a couple of other expenses in there, for repairs because of the flooding that we experienced
Yes.
here in the town hall.
Yeah.
Is that covered by insurance, do you know? It is?
Yep.
Okay,
We have to expense it and then get reimbursed.
right, but I would just wanted to make sure. So overall, a lot of this is gonna be reimbursed or was covered by other means, so that's a good thing.
And there's still a little bit more to do.
Yeah, the other big one I saw was the flooding.
Yeah,
There's still
Yeah.
a little more cleanup down there to do that we're looking into, and we're looking to see if the insurance company will cover in-house expenses.
Yeah.
If we take care of it through our in-house labor to clean up and do stuff like that, so that's being looked into also. as we
that'd
move
be
forward.
great.
Yeah, just for example, Pipitone, because of the flooding and the issues with the boilers, we were north of $10,000, so.
It'd be good to get reimbursed if we
Yep.
can. All right. That was one of my questions.
Did I have a second?
Yeah, I think.
Luther.
Second. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think it's that, Councilman Morelli,
Aye,
Councilman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Kais,
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Chase.
Aye. Okay, moving on to reports from board members. I'll skip myself to the end. Councilperson Morelli.
thank you. So on Thursday, July 24th, I attended the Rush Fireman's Carnival. It was a great event. Saw people there, Luther working there. I had a great time meeting people, residents, and eating clams and having a beer. It was great. I thought it was really nice. On Monday, August 4th, I attended or participated in the town board workshop where we discussed residential code sections R20 and R30, and that is going to be continued. I think we have a resolution to continue that one. But also on Tuesday, July 29th, I participated in a meeting with Supervisor Woolover, and we met with representatives from Invenergy here in the town hall. It was a great meeting, very cordial. I found them to be very open and wanting to be transparent and forthcoming with everything that they're doing. And I did a summary, and I'll try and read it as quickly as I can, but there was a lot that we discussed that I think people would find interesting to know. I took these notes, they weren't reviewed by anybody, but so it was myself, Supervisor Woolover, for the town of Rush, Todd Nobby and Michael Porto from Invenergy. And it was really all, they just wanted to come in and update us on the status of the Horseshoe Solar project in the town of Rush. And it was really Todd, doing most of the talking and explaining where they're at. A good status, and he went on to say that the project had been stalled but is now picking up again. Todd is tentatively planning on making a presentation to the public at the September 10th Rush Town Board meeting where he will give an update to the public. So he will probably say all of this much better than in my scribbled notes, but I felt I just wanted to let you know. There were a few permit modifications, which mostly affected Caledonia, not Rush. Some things to do with limits of disturbance. There is the O&M Operations Management building, which is now going to be in Caledonia and not Rush. And the laydown yard is going to be in Caledonia, not Rush. So those permit modifications don't affect the town of Rush. They want to eventually set up a hotline as construction starts for people to call in if they have questions or see things, concerned about things. So they want to, it's all to, have an open dialogue about things as things go on. There's an issue, well, there was supposed to be well testing for all the residences surrounding that whole project site. They're going to restart that process and they're going to send out a new survey to the residents in that area. I don't think they ever finished it first round. But anyway, that's coming back up again. As construction progresses, compliance filings will be made to ORES, that's the state agency, but will be shared with the town beforehand. Under the host community agreement. By the way, thank you so much for getting those agreements, helping getting those agreements. They are now on the town website, under solar projects. So you can all read what's in the host community agreement that we negotiated. And the road use agreement for Gola Road, Mary Ann's familiar with them. But anyway, under 7.12 of the host community agreement, under historic preservation, they will work with the town on that. They're preparing a draft to share with the town and we'll send it to Supervisor Woolover. Under the HCA Section 6 regarding a decommissioning plan, Rush needs to approve it before they submit it to ORES, and the town board will need to vote on it and possibly other plans as well as they're finalized. We discussed all of these points within the HCA, you recall. HCA Section 7.9, visual screening. Invenergy will consult with the town prior to finalizing. They have no intention to expand in the town of Rush. So he allayed those fears and concerns if anybody's wondering about that. Todd would like to recommend quarterly meetings. Invenergy will also host a construction and development meeting when construction starts. And they may have to do some tree clearing first. I know that doesn't sit well with some people, but these are, I'm reporting what the results were. They need to do 2 property subdivisions on 2 smaller parcels and will coordinate with the planning board pursuant to HCA section 7.14 and 5.5C. The maps are all on the DMM website. And there's also some maps that are included with the host community agreement on the town website. So you can look in there and you can kind of see the scope of the project in the town of Rush. Timeline. So there'll be a major mobilization in the spring of, in April of 2027 involving grading and access road site prep that will be going into 2028. The pile driving for the posts will start approximately 3rd quarter of 2027. This should start the payment to the town per the host community agreement. Part of our negotiations, the town is getting $300,000. You'll see it, it's all in the agreement. And the first payment will commence with that work. They expect to complete pile driving by December 2028. In the spring of 2028, the panels will be delivered. And he also mentioned that Invenergy actually owns a company called Illuminate. And it produces some solar panels here in the United States and will provide approximately 60% of the Horseshoe solar panels. I think I got that number right, but Todd, I'm sure we'll go over all of this. Regarding the road use agreement, they have a pre-construction road survey that has to take place. They're going to be posting at $25,000 in escrow as initial seed with a $75,000 cap soon for the town to use to review their work. They're going to need 2 or 3 road aprons. I don't know if they told you that yet, but, and they questioning whether they need a permit. They may need from the town planning board. And security and bonds are associated with the road use agreement, but that's not ready yet. So as I mentioned, those agreements are now all visible on the town website. And while we were there at this meeting, you all started talking about this, but I asked about the new substation being proposed by National Grid and the fact that National Grid is planning to decommission the existing substation. The original plan was for Horseshoe Solar to connect to the existing substation. Todd told me that that is still their plan. It will be up to National Grid then to move the connection to any new substation. He said that's not their problem. This is what he said. Whether any of this changes, I don't know. And the proposed new substation currently does not align with Horseshoe Solar plans, so they're going to the original plan. We'll see. Todd indicated that the plan is connect to the grid by the end of 2028. So I hope that was helpful. I know it took a lot of time, and I'll give copies to everybody of my notes. Thank you for listening. I just thought it was important stuff.
Thank you, Chief. That was good
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
Okay, Luther?
There'll be no conservation board this month. That was canceled. I also attended the workshop, scheduled for the next one coming up, the residential. I think we're getting, making headway on that. And, if anybody's interested, come to the workshops because we do discuss a lot of things. From dogs to how many commercial vehicles in the driveway. And if you want to know or have input, there's the time to have it. So I think we try to have a pretty good open meeting. Seems like we let you down in some of these places and we try not to. That's certainly not our intent, I can tell you that. But my number is available. You can get a hold of me. I'm more willing to talk to people. But come down to the workshops and see, get your input in there. That's the place to have it. That's all I got.
All right, thank you, Luther. Derek?
I too attended the fire carnival. I thought it was very well run this year. It was nice kids' rides were quick and easy because they had the little kiosk for the bed or wristbands. So just a note to take back to them. And I also attended the workshop on Monday for the residential code, and I agree with my colleagues here. I think we're making good headway. It's a lot to digest, but we're getting through it a little at a time.
Town Clerk Hargrave, do you have a report?
The July Town Clerk monthly revenue report was submitted to Deputy Supervisor today. Check will be given to our finance director tomorrow when she's in. The amount is $10,007.44. And state revenue submitted and was sent to different state funding of $186.96. town clerk's new computers with, Windows 11 have been installed. And, for the deadline of October, just to, make sure they're working in performance and avoiding the vulnerability that will be out there after October. So there's a couple more computers that we will be, getting installed in the offices. Unfortunately, some of the older equipment and printers does not fit with our new Windows 11, so we've had to get a couple more new printers. That sort of stalled my office for like 2 or 3 days. So I apologize for putting some of the information out and up to residents in that capacity. We didn't think that it would take that long, but it did. Hunting licenses, they're open now, so any hunters that want to come in and get their DMPs, they're available. I also volunteered at the Rush Carnival and it was wonderful again. So I'm glad that it's still part of our community. And on the downside, our school tax bills will be coming out the end of August. So I'm sorry for the bad news, but that's when they'll be hitting the mailboxes. So, and that's about it.
Okay. Attorney Overton?
I've got mine kind of piggybacks on what Gene was speaking to on the Goba substation, the National Grid project. I think part of the reason why Horseshoes and Invenergy they're not looking to do anything with the new control substation is because, quite frankly, the substation is still, that project is still in its infancy. The applicant, National Grid, submitted its application to the PSC for review and for completeness back in late February of this year. It was just approved by staff internally at the PSC for completeness. And what that basically means is the application goes in, the staff reviews the application, make sure all of the conditions that are required for the PSC to conduct this review have been met. And once they get status, if there's deficiency, they will send out a deficiency notice and allow the applicant to submit additional information to get the application complete. I think there was 4 supplemental filings to get the application complete. The completeness determination was made, I believe, July 9th. So this just starts the process. So now an administrative law judge has been assigned to the project that will review the application. It will review any comments from participating parties. Participating parties can include any state agencies, will be including the town of Russian, one of the involved parties. Right now, I believe it's the DEC, Department of Ag and Markets, and the Department of Public Service have all indicated that they're going to participate and provide comments. So we're at the kind of the preliminary stage. So none of the solar facilities can rely on the actual new substation going in until the PSC determines whether or not this application is approved, denied, or approved in part or in whole. So there could be modifications that the PSC dictates that would necessitate then that once that's finalized, then if it's finalized, I should say, then the solar companies would be able to, they wouldn't even have to amend their plan because they've already if they've already gotten their hoops for interconnect, it would be National Grid's responsibility to get them to the new substation if it's in fact. They're totally separate and distinct. National Grid's application before the PSC has nothing to do with Horseshoe. Horseshoe can proceed with the existing substation with their approvals, because if something happens and National Grid's application is denied or denied in part, if the substation is denied, then it would be that, Horseshoe would still be operating as it currently is planning. That's why I think there's no plan to piggyback onto or try to adhere to the conditions of the new substation, because they're basically what Grid is offered to the PSC for approval. The PSC still has to go through the process. Part of that process of approving is basically there's going to be starting on August 27th, every week, or I'm sorry, bi-weekly, there's going to be meetings between the involved parties that I mentioned before, anybody else that signs up to be an involved party, settlement conferences with National Grid to go through various aspects of the plan. the parties, participating parties have a chance to comment on design, layout, location, environmental impacts, basically any and all aspects of National Grid's plan. So that is something that the town is going to be participating in on those bi-weekly conference calls. Basically, administrative law judge is there to receive all the information. Parties will negotiate to try, basically what we'll do is we'll ask National Grid for concessions to certain things, i.e. The using chemicals to clear, we can ask for them to not to do that on our property. We can ask them to locate the property further to the west to get the overall substation site further away from our residential zone. The PSC is, they're basically the body that's going to cover all this site permitting for this project. That's part of their Article 7 duties. Part of the application that National Grid has provided is a breakdown of every single municipality's code that this project would impact, and whether or not their local laws apply, and if they don't apply, or if they can comply with them, and if they can't comply with them, they ask for a waiver to say that these restrictions are unduly burdensome for, there's 3 categories that they have to satisfy. PSC, we want you to make the determination. That is PSC's right. Public Service Law 130 allows the Public Service Commission to preempt any local municipality or governmental agency's rules as it relates to permitting, and they were the ultimate arbitrator of that. But this settlement conference period allows us to, even though some of our local laws may not apply, we can ask for concessions from National Grid. Like I said, one of the things that we're going to be asking for is the setback to be, so that we have a better buffer. Things like that we can bring up during these settlement conferences. And the settlement conferences will go on so long as, or until such time as everybody is reached a consensus that everybody can work with. If we're at an impasse, then those conferences stop. But all that information is made available to the administrative law judge, who's going to take all that information and make a recommendation to the PSC board to either approve the application, deny the application, or condition the application on various things that all stem from kind of this, these ongoing meetings that we're going to be having. And any other public comment that comes from their own comment to the PSC, that all goes as part of the process. So we are it's still pretty early in its infancy, and this is going to go on for quite some time. Typically, you're going to be looking well into 2026 before any recommendations might even offered by the administrative law judge, but there'll be a series of meetings and opportunities to get any concerns that we have for National Grid and ultimately for the PSC, so that all to be taken into consideration for the determination on whether or not this application is going to go forward. So I just wanted to give that kind of very high level 30,000 foot view to say that we're going to be participating in the project. The one thing I will note is in looking at their application and looking at the PSC regulations, while there's 2 thresholds that a project will qualify for intervenor funds under Article 7. One is that you have to have at least 1 mile of basically 1 mile of length of line that's involved, and the wattage and the voltage that goes across the line has to be a minimum of 125 kilovolts in order to qualify for intervenor funds. And then depending on how long your line is, there's different thresholds of buckets for intervenor funds. This project is at 115 kilowatts, so their application does not contain any requirement for intervenor funds, and the PSC has already approved it as such. That doesn't mean we still can, and the plan is to still request intervenor funds for this project, even if it's just for the town of Brush. But there are no designated intervenor funds at this time, at this application for this project, because it doesn't meet the second threshold.
So you're saying that they have not been asked to post any funds up front, like
They're not.
Horseshoe Solar did?
Under the statute, they're not. If you hit certain thresholds, it's automatic. It's not there's no discretion, it's a shall. You reach those thresholds, so they did not have to include intervenor funds as part of their application.
So But you mentioned that it was still possible, you know, for the town as an
We're gonna
interested
make-
party.
We're gonna make requests for interview. We have to identify basically how much we think we're going to need to review these things and as justification for the request. And then it'll be up to the PSC to make a determination whether or not intervenor funds will be required. And it could be, it may not just be the town of Rush, it could be other municipalities or other parties may request it as well.
I know my only experience with intervenor funds has to do with Horseshoe Solar, of course, where the town was awarded funds to help pay for the studies that we were entitled to, pay for legal fees. So that the town, anything that the town did with regard to Horseshoe Solar and getting where we are with that, with all these agreements that we negotiated, the town was not out of pocket a dime because we had sufficient intervenor funds to cover those things. So
Yeah.
I would use that as a model, at least something to get started, because there's a lot to look at with a construction of this type. So if we could, I know I'm only one person on this board, but I think everybody would agree that if the town is entitled to money to pay for these things, that we ought to get them.
Again, and the difference there was the project, the pot of intervenor funds, so the pot of money was designated. And then the town had to apply to receive a piece and get their allocation. In this instance, because it was not required, we were gonna ask for it to be put into place and at a threshold amount. So to your point, yes, using Horseshoe as a guide certainly helps, but the difference is Horseshoe, it was already part of their application. When they submitted their application, the intervenor funds had to go in. as part of
Right.
it. In this instance, they did. So
Yeah.
we're trying to force their hand on that.
So, yeah, so to the extent we could get that going, you know, and we'll figure out what we gotta include in there. But I'd say let's go for it.
This was just I wanted to give the board a quick update on where things were and that, you know, we're still early on, but we're gonna take a bite. And regardless of whether we get the intervenor funds or not, we're still gonna take there's still aspects that we want to push back on, certainly. And we're gonna do it. regardless.
Right, I mean, you think about, you know, and again, thinking about my involvement with the agreements that we negotiated with Horseshoe Solar, you know, had to do, and this board and, this highway supervisor, and also know what with the road use agreement and the work that, is being done there and the trucks and so on and so forth and the toll on the town roads. This is even bigger.
Yeah.
This is potentially even bigger and more stuff happening on town roads, so.
And part of their application is the engineering and the basically construction plan does address those things as well as if this is approved, let's say, the next step is they get an environmental management plan that addresses all the environmental concerns that have been raised and identified.
But
as well as the
that's taking only their side. I think the town should have an opportunity to also address environmental concerns and everything else that, you know, the
That-
town deems as being relevant.
And we do have that, right, we do that during this.
Okay.
Settlement conference process, I'm saying that once the PSC takes all that information in, they make their determination. They will implement a environmental management plan and a construction plan that then National Grid implements. But that's basically taking all that information in and not just what National Grid's provided is their proposed. It's gonna be as modified and as dictated by the PSC. So any aspect of the project that we wanna push back on, sir.
So, yeah, so I guess I would like to make sure we're doing whatever we have to do, and if we need to involve our town engineers,
And I've already talked to Supervisor.
okay, because I'm assuming that they may have had experience with other things in other towns, and so that we're not just running blind into these things, and make sure that we're covering all, you know, potential things that could happen in the town of Rush from a project of this size. And that we have the money to pay for it.
That'd be step one.
You know, I always ask about the money.
It's kind of makes the world over, so. And
Thank
again,
you.
there's no guarantee, but certainly it's gotta be. What's the harm in asking?
Oh,
Just me.
well, could they say no and then we fight?
And if ultimately the determination is no, then we can still push back in any way we want.
Oh, we will. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. DJ, do you have a report?
So the good news is the pipe should be here tomorrow by 3 o'clock for Lions Road. So
Should
hopefully
be open by
by,
Saturday.
I don't know about Saturday, a Saturday, yes.
Okay.
Hopefully before school starts. So that's our goal. We're currently working on East River Road. We put 4-foot shoulders from West Rush Road to the county line and back, which will help with the bike riders, the farm equipment, all that, and we've still got a bunch to do. We got to stone and oil all that, and some other small jobs. We still got a bunch of county work yet to do. We're gonna be working on Middle Road, stone and oiling, and putting drainage from Harvest Lane down to 251 on the part that's a constant problem, during the winter time and stuff like that that's what the county wants us to do, so. At this point, and then we're, as we move into budget season, I'm assuming we'll all see more of each other, so.
Yep. All right, thank you. All right, so I'll give my report, just like everybody else. I was at the workshop regarding residential code. Pretty much as everybody has said, I agree with them. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of conversations to be had, a lot of ideas thrown around, a lot of good conversation about it. There's definitely some need for some updating in the town code to make it more consistent. So yeah, it's a lot of work. And as Luther said, we encourage residents to come and see how those proceedings work. And eventually we're going to get to a point where we're going to have a public hearing on that. So it'd be good to be there, listen to some of these conversations and voice your opinions at the public hearing when we're getting ready to make our final decision on these code revisions, because these are really, especially these residential codes, are the ones that probably affect most of the town residents more than anything. This is residential code, you're the residents, so you guys should really try and have some input. We try to do our best with it, but we're not everybody, so we all kind of have our own lives and our own ways that we do things, so you try and take everyone into consideration, but it would be great to have some more involvement. Other than that, I've been filling in for Supervisor Wolver in a very limited capacity and for the last week or so. I will say that the supervisor has a lot on his plate, just being here the few days a week that I've been in here for a couple hours. I tell myself I'm gonna go swing in for an hour or 2 hours, and next thing I know, it's 3 or 4 hours and I'm still here. So it's a very busy place, but I will say that just being in the office and watching the group of individuals that we have here working, everybody seems to work together pretty well. They're very productive. And I guess if you're not here every day seeing it, it's a good team, and I'm glad to be a part of it. So that's my report.
Thanks for filling in.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I guess at this point, we're going to move on to old business. The first item in old business is a resolution to reward a company, the bid to repaint the large Gamble Roof Barn, building number 7 at White Springs Farm. We had this resolution on a previous agenda. There was a change in the RFP, so we decided that we were going to resend out RFPs and not just award it because of the change to the lowest bidder. We resent out the RFPs, only one of those responded back. So we're ready to move forward with that resolution if anybody is willing to read that.
I think it might be good to say why, they came back with a different idea, but.
There was a change of the scope of the project, and the Better Homes and Builders were able to come in at a lower price than they had previously. So we probably at that point could have just awarded them that, but we said, well, since there is a change in the scope, we sent it back out for RFP so that all the other people that had responded and put bids in were able to take another crack at it. At that point, I think the numbers were public knowledge. I'm sure that the other bidders saw the number that Better Home Builders had and said, we're not coming back for anything. They were much lower. So that's what we're working with.
I so move, having reviewed all bids presented for painting in barn number 7, horse barn at White Springs Farm. Move to authorize Better Home Builders, Inc. and complete the work in the amount of $27,786.25. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Councilwoman Morale,
Aye.
Councilman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Tice,
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Case,
Aye. The next order of business on old business is amending our town code, chapter 103-2. This is regarding the maximum income eligibility levels for our senior citizens to get a tax exemption. We had talked about it at, I believe it was an April 23rd meeting is when we opened this, and we were planning on closing it at this meeting, the public hearing. We think it would be in our best interest to keep it open until at least the next town board meeting. Our assessor, Amy, is going to come in and give a presentation and talk over what our options are and what levels we can be at, and then give us a better idea of how many residents would be affected at those levels. So before we make any decision on this, we would like to have a report from our assessor and get a better idea of what the actual numbers are going to be and what levels we can be at. So next meeting, the assessor will be here. She's going to give a quick presentation. Encourage everyone to be here, and hopefully at that point, we'll get maybe more input from the public. We'll be able to close the public hearing and hopefully move forward on that for getting our seniors an exemption.
So was that,
Is it next week or the 10th?
September 10th.
10th.
yeah,
September, okay, but she's going to give the presentation. I thought she said when I spoke to her that she was going to give that at the next meeting. But so it's either going to be at the August meeting or September 10th. Maybe we can keep it open till.
We can keep it open until the 10th. We can't take action until that closes.
Yep.
We would take action after that. And I know that the concern was we just need to make sure that whatever we're going to do, we implement the local law and submit it to the state before the application and renewals go out to the residents. That
Yeah.
was the only-
Yeah, and she said that
was gonna be-
when we spoke to Amy the other day, she said that typically they go out in September. But she said that she had to talk with Barb to see exactly what the time frame was that she sent them out. So like there's some wiggle room in that, but she said typically that's when Barb starts getting that stuff taken care of. That's why we kind of wanted to get it done or get her here and give the presentation sooner than later. So
If that's the case, then we can keep the public hearing open until the August meeting date.
well, I think we're all right to the 10th. I
As long-
think,
As long as Amy's comfortable, because it'll take, once the public hearing's closed, because that, I can modify however, if we need to make further modifications on what's already presented, I can make further modifications, get it out so everybody can see it. public can
Okay.
See it, and once the public hearing is closed, if there's no other modifications, we can send it to the state. If there's additional modifications, I'll have to get those done and and then it'll have to go to the next board meeting for approval. So
Yeah.
that's why I just want to make sure that
okay,
if we need to build in more buffer, or if she tells us that if she says she's got an issue on her end on the tail end, we just need to know that, so.
okay.
we can-
We'll have conversations with her, but she seemed to make it sound like she'd be able to get something together for the August meeting. And then if we want to keep that open to the first meeting. People can kind of digest what she presented to us and then we
That's fair.
can,
Yeah, as long as it's not jamming her up a tail, and I'm fine.
okay. All right, we'll have conversations with her. Move forward from there. Okay. Anyone like to read that? Well, we're just keeping it open. There's no
Right,
resolution,
yeah.
so we're just keeping it open. New business, we have Judge Lang is here. Ryan, would you like to speak to this, the hiring of the court clerk, or do you want me to just kind of give a brief overview of what?
Speak that, would you mind going with the mic, sorry, so. For recording purposes, sorry.
Thank you. Judge Lang, Rush, New York. Hello, everybody. Yes, I put forth for a resolution to be added to this evening's board meeting for a hire of a new court clerk one for the judge's clerk, as we had a retirement announced that should become effective at the end of this month by September 1st. So the necessity to get an approval for a new hire was imminent because of the training that needs to proceed in the background investigation that has to start with fingerprinting and everything else from the state under a new hire. So we had the job posted for a length of time on the website as well as on Indeed, and as well with the 7th Judicial District Court Administration. And we had numerous applicants, which were all vetted, and a selection of a candidate was made. And I proposed that hiring tonight to the board. That's
Okay.
about-
Thank you, Ryan.
So thank you.
Okay, would somebody like to read the resolution to appoint a new court clerk? Do you have that? Yeah, do you have it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I so moved to authorize Town Justice Ryan Lang to hire Alyssa Lempo. To Town Justice effective. What date do we want?
Which says
Tomorrow.
effective 8/14, says it in there.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, I was looking at the other one. Yeah. Let me start this over. I so moved to authorize Town Justice Ryan Lang to hire Alyssa Lembo as clerk to Town Justice Court Clerk 1 effective 8/14/25 through December 31, 2025 at step 1. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Councilwoman Morelli,
Aye.
Councilman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Kais,
Right.
Deputy Supervisor Chase,
Aye.
I was reading one at the bottom where it says, here's the resolution.
All
I
right.
was like filling in the blanks.
So the next resolution, I had in my mind that we had, and it says here Tuesday, September 8th, but I thought we were gonna do it on Tuesday, September 9th. But then when they looked back at the recording from that workshop, the last date we said was Monday, the 8th. Do you guys recall if, because I know that you, Luther, you have a
Yeah.
problem with Mondays, so we were gonna talk about Tuesday, but then,
I can't do Tuesday.
Right.
okay, so then did we revert back to,
I think we did.
The second Monday, that's the second Monday
Yeah.
of,
is that what it was then?
Second Monday of September.
Okay. Okay, so it is Monday, September 8th, which
it
would
still
be.
burns me, but it's fine.
Okay, so that's what we decided. So it'll be Monday, September 8th.
Right.
Okay, very good. Okay, I know there was a lot of discussion on that day there, and I was like, wait, what did we finally decide? So, okay, so do we have a resolution to schedule another town board workshop to review residential code on Monday, the second Monday in September, September 8th
I'll do it.
at 7 o'clock?
So I so move to schedule a town board workshop on Monday, September 8th, 2025 at 7 PM at the offices of the Rush Town Hall, 5977 East Henrietta Road, Rush, New York, regarding continuation of code revisions to the residential R20 and residential R30 districts. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilwoman Morelli,
Aye.
Councilman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Kais,
All right,
Supervisor Chase,
Aye. Okay, the next item under new business is a resolution. That's what we just did.
Oh.
The resolution. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I skipped one. The next one is proposed resolution to declare surplus of water coolers, unusable electronic equipment, and window air conditioners.
What's this about?
What are we doing?
Yeah, what do we do with them?
We're,
Trash.
they're surplus, so we can get rid of them.
Can't use the window air conditioners, we can't use any of it, they're unusable right now.
Okay.
So we have to give your permission to get rid of them.
Yeah.
That surplus.
Yeah.
Auction them or
They
something.
they can be auctioned, they can be scrapped.
Right.
Whatever the best.
I so move that town clerk is authorized to declare surplus of water coolers, unusable electronic equipment, and window air conditioners that have no useful life within the town hall. Do I have a second?
No second.
Councilman Morale,
Aye.
Councilman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Ties,
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Chase,
Aye. Okay, the next order of new business is a resolution to schedule a public hearing to authorize a property tax levy in excess of the limit established by the General Municipal Law 3-C for September 10th of 2025. Just a quick
Yeah, potential.
kind of a explanation here. We're starting to go through the budgets now and we're seeing kind of where our numbers are gonna be and where things are landing. Just a quick example, our retirement is forecasted to go up 25% through our state retirement. So there's a lot of costs that are outside of the control of the town of Rush. And we really have no say in it. So we're just doing this as a precaution in case we do have to go above the tax cap. This resolution or scheduling this public hearing and then saying, yep, we do want to have that capability to go above the tax cap, just ensures that if we need to, that we're able to do it when that time comes. So this isn't, by doing this, it's not saying, yes, 100% we're going to do it at this time, but it's giving us the opportunity to do it if that time comes.
Health
So
insurance,
it's just
health insurance too. That
health insurance.
went up 20% last year.
Yeah, and I think that health insurance, the other big one went up like 11-13%.
Mhm.
So like I said, there's just a lot of costs that are outside of this town's control that are going up and we're trying to protect ourselves. So hopefully we don't have to use it. It's probably looking like we may have to do something, unfortunately, but we're just preparing ourselves in case that time comes. So, and this is just scheduling the public hearing, so we'll get to hear back from the residents at that time too.
I agree with
So-
Dan. It's kind of unfortunate that we have to do it, but in order to stay afloat,
Yeah,
we gotta do what we need to.
at least be prepared to do it.
Yep.
So I was told that a lot of other towns try and do this they just put it into their organizational meeting minutes and just go through that way with it. I personally don't feel comfortable doing it that way. I would rather get towards this time and really see where our numbers are kind of starting to fall before we decide to move forward with something like that. But, yeah, so I guess, does anyone want to read the resolution to schedule a public hearing?
Resolution of the town board of the town of Rush scheduling a public hearing to exceed the real property tax cap for fiscal year 2026. Whereas the town board has determined that it may be appropriate for the town to establish the 2025 real property tax levy in amount that would exceed the limit established in the General Municipal Law 3-C. Now therefore be it resolved that a public hearing will be held on what is it? September 10th, 2025 at 7:15 PM at the Rush Town Hall, 5977 East Henrietta Road, Rush, New York, 14543, to determine whether the 2026 budget shall include a real property tax levy in excess of the statutory limit set forth in the General Municipal Law 3-C. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilwoman Morelli,
Aye.
Councilman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Kies,
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Chase.
Aye. That is all that we have on the agenda for today. Upcoming meetings, we have, Conservation Board is canceled. Zoning is 8/21 and planning is 8/28. Having no further business to conduct.
Planning board, I thought they were.
No, they're on, it's the 26th.
26th, yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's right. I was thinking, I go, why is it 7 days apart? Normally,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought it was a little odd that they were.
That's Hankins' house, so.
Says 2025, they'll probably.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah.
Moved to read it as 2025, so you
It's-
should just correct that.
Okay,
It's 2026.
thank you, Kath.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
that's part of that.
Okay, so, yeah.
So
Reread
the
it.
first whereas, whereas.
Should be
the town determined that it may be
2026.
appropriate for the town to establish the 2026, not
Yep.
2025 real property tax levy in the amount that would exceed, the limit established in General Law, section 3-6, 3-. So that the reference to 2025 in that first paragraph is replaced 2026.
Yep. Very good. Okay,
We need-
ready? Aye.
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 They all play there, right? Have a good night.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, here's
Oh, yes.
just to give you the background of things that they said in